Welcome back to the More Than Outdoors podcast, the podcast where we talk about the people, places, and passions that drive Maine's outdoor recreation economy. I'm Austin French.
I'm Sam Andrews.
And we have a very special guest today. We have Josh Bossin from Maine GearShare here. So thank you very much for coming on the podcast, Josh.
Yeah.
Just quick little intro, like who are you? What do you do at Maine GearShare? All that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah. So like you said, my name's Josh, and I'm the executive director for Maine GearShare. We're a nonprofit gear lending library based in Brunswick.
Very cool.
And we're here right now and surrounded with lots of good gear. We have some gear repairs going on behind us, and it's pretty cool to be behind your desk.
Yeah,
where the magic happens.
Yeah, unique perspective. Normally we're doing these podcasts outside. This is the first indoor podcast, but seeing the setting that we get access to, it's worth it.
Yes.
So we're always curious, because I think an important part of understanding the outdoor rec industry in Maine is like, how did people actually end up in it? And everybody's got their own unique story. So like, how'd you end up in outdoor rec?
Yeah, I'm probably going to be an odd one in that I've always been in outdoor rec, and it was a clear professional decision. I'm not one of the ones who went on this whole long journey, was in tech or finance and one of these things, and just loved their passion of the outdoors and wanted to make a big career change. I've done outdoor education my entire professional career. I have an undergraduate degree in outdoor education. I was a mountain guide. I worked for Knowles, worked internationally all around the country, and mostly in instruction and education. I've been a professor of outdoor education for a long time before moving to Maine. And for me, it's always just been about connecting people and having that first experience outdoors. That was really powerful for me as a kid growing up in Massachusetts. I had time outside and had access to it, but I had never really gone into the woods. Mm-hmm. I had been playing sports, and that was my time outside. And so introduction was like going to camp and getting to go on a rock climbing wall and go on an overnight to across the lake really far away, right? But that was really powerful for me. And so once it came time to be kind of my career choice, it was pretty obvious. I just wanted to have that moment happen for other people. And I've been on an endless quest to try to make that happen for more people. And as I've moved further along in my professional career, it's been more about how can I have a bigger impact, especially for more folks who just traditionally have been told this isn't a space for them.
Well, that's really cool because I didn't quite know that about you. And I feel like I've been doing this too since I was 18. But there was this kind of moment of, okay, I want to do this for my career and I want to make a life out of this. And did you have any moment like that? Or? I
mean, I was interested when I was like, okay, I'm going to go to school for this after camp. I was like, I don't really know what outdoor education, in quotations, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact I don't want to work behind a desk at that time of my career. I don't want to work behind a desk. I'd love to be outside. I really like doing things that were physically active. So I was like, I'll see what this is about. And literally the first class in college, I had a professor in an intro to outdoor education course that I was like, wow, I want to do what that person's doing. Mm. And then I looked at what it takes to be a professor and all of that, and was like, okay, I'm going to need to get a master's degree. I'm going to have this much time in the field. And so I have a cleaner and quicker line than most people in this industry just because I had a singular focus.
Yeah, you were inspired and had a vision. And
yeah.
So you were talking about how you want to create more access to outdoor spaces for people who might not necessarily have the means or the knowledge or mm-hmm. the family or the college experience to get them into it. Mm-hmm. How do you feel like Maine GearShare is doing that for people?
Yeah, I mean, that is the reason I moved to Maine to run this organization and to help do that. Is I felt like this organization and what the work Maine GearShare is doing had an opportunity to help significantly more people than I was with my current work at that time. And so I think for us, our focus is really different. There are other gear libraries. I'm sure we'll talk about that. But Maine GearShare is singularly focused on trying to help organizations who are already getting large groups of people together who haven't had good access to the outdoors. Mm-hmm. They're providing the transportation often. They're definitely providing the instruction. Yeah. And we're like, well, why don't we just have a nonprofit that just provides the gear, just does this one component of one of the many barriers that there are really, really well, and let these other organizations focus themselves on the parts that they can do really well rather than all of us trying to do all of the things all of the time. So it's really just a model of do less things and do them better.
Yeah, do more or do less with more intention. That's a quote that I've been following.
Yep.
And at Teens to Trails, we've worked with you quite a bit, and we're kind of like the organizer. We do all the programs, but then the gear component is such a game changer for students who don't have anything, and it actually gets them out into the outdoors. And what I love the most about all of your equipment is that a lot of it's uniform and really easy to hand to a group of 10 and just show everybody how to set up this one tent. And everyone feels like, okay, they have the same gear as I do. And it feels a little bit more inclusive and fair. Because I hate sleeping on like one of those crinkle pads and then the person next to me has like a blow up air mattress. And I'm just thinking they're going to get a better night's sleep than me. Yeah. That's not fair.
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, that was fundamental to the start of this, was like, we're only going to do this if we can accomplish some of these really specific tasks of, we don't want the kid who has the rented gear to feel different or other than everyone else. Mm-hmm. So for us, it was just, everyone's going to have the same stuff, and it's all going to be as nice and often nicer than what the instructors have, which is a total change from what people think of when they think of lending someone gear or sharing gear or any of that kind of opt into the share economy model. So that's very much the change work we're really passionate about and want to make sure we kind of like keep going.
Yeah. Well, and I think it ties back a lot to like in our conversation with Jenny, we talked about, you know, when you're able to bring this very collective model of like, you have all of these different players that are kind of aiming towards one common goal of like increasing access for people that traditionally wouldn't have it. It's really tying into that, like, where can your strength lie? Like how you talked about, like, we're going to focus in this area. We're going to make sure that we're really good at it. So that way, you know, we're not the prong in, you know, the spoke in the wheel, so to speak, that all of a sudden is broken, you know, because we're trying to do something that we don't know a ton about and we're trying to kind of makeshift it. And I think that's really cool because it allows you guys to invest that much more time, effort, and money in a lot of different ways to make sure that the end mission for you all is actually being accomplished, and you're not getting sort of like taken off in these side quests all the time. You know what I mean? So that's really awesome. That's really awesome.
So the one thing I love about being able to reserve gear here is like the process that I feel like I'm like online shopping. I'm like, ooh, what am I going to try this time? Or like, what am I going to get this student so they feel super comfortable? We just had a student go on a ripple effect trip. And she's like, I have no gear. I don't know what to do. So I like went through the packing list with her and went on the website and went to your inventory. And I was like, oh, you're going to get this merino wool base layer. You can sleep in it. You'll be really comfortable. And then you'll wear this, you know, the rain layer for when it's raining. And so will you talk a little bit about that? Like the process, the membership model, like how do people get involved with Maine GearShare, and what does it look like to actually reserve the gear, use it, and drop it off?
Yeah, it's a very evolved process at this point. We've gone through a bunch of iterations, and the thing that's been at the core of it for us the whole time is we actually completely turn off our nonprofit brains, and we're like, this is a customer that we cannot lose, and we treat them like they are the most important person. And we didn't realize we were doing that, but our staff here, we realized after a while, our board came and talked to us, like, one of the things I noticed is you all like are doing these things as if this is like some really high-end sports car shop or something. Like everything's really nice, really clean, really organized, and each person's getting special attention. We're like, I don't know, it just seems like the right thing to do. But what it means is then every person ends up with a really high-quality experience. So for us, that's where the like online shopping experience, that's not an accident. We used to have a software that we really didn't like, and it felt very clinky, and you'd scroll through page after page after page of just slightly different size footwear of the exact same item, right? Not kind of the quick, fast user online shopping experience that so many of us are now used to. So like, well, why can't we have that? Why can't this look like the same as going on llbean.com and buying the raincoat, but instead you're just renting it? So that's where we started from with our software. And we've kind of taken that approach to how we like manage at this point now a 3,000 plus item inventory. Is for us, it's just like trying to do it all at high quality. If we're going to lose one item, we might as well not do this at all kind of attitude, like a zero compromise approach. I will say that takes some very type A people to run it. And it may not be for everyone, but it does mean that we are able to operate with a really small staff serving a lot of people at a pretty big scale. So the way our members kind of their end of this is you're talking about how they can kind of go online shopping, but when they start, basically oftentimes it's most of the time it's nonprofits, but any group that is specifically focusing and working with the populations we're trying to serve, they can become a member. We have 3 different membership levels. There's kind of like an entry, which we find about 2/3 of our members. We have about 40 members right now. And 2/3 of them fall into this group of like, we do a couple trips a year, or we've never done trips, but we really would like to start. And we've got instruction, and we've got the permits, we've got all that part figured out, we've got the guides. We just don't have the equipment for everyone. Can you help us with that part? And so they pay an extremely subsidized rate. Some of them pay nothing at all. Other ones pay up to $200 a year. And every person who goes on the trip can take as much items as they want. So that was a big change for us, and compared to other year libraries where we're not counting how many items. So if you show up and you have a family that's really big into camping and you're just going on this group trip and all you need is your share of the tent, and then you show up and you're like, I've never done any of this, I don't own any of these things, I don't want to buy them because I don't even know if I like this yet, or I might not be able to afford it. Mm-hmm. You can show up and get head to toe decked out with all this really cool gear, and it doesn't cost the organization anything different to have either one of you there. Mm-hmm. So that's a really different model, is we want everyone to be comfortable at whatever they need. So all of our organizations are encouraged to just take as much gear as they need for everyone to be comfortable, and sometimes a little bit of extra in case something doesn't work out. So our member organizations, they sign up, they're good for a whole year, and they kind of get a tier based on how many days they think they're going to spend in the field. So these entry groups, they're typically doing 2, maybe 3 weekend kind of trips a year. So like 3-night trip for 10 kids, that's 30 days of use. Mm. So they'll kind of fit into this kind of early tier. And then we have some bigger organizations like Teens to Trails, Ripple Effect, Trekkers, organizations that are really doing a lot of capacity, a lot of user days a year. They have like a custom tiered model with us where it's just based on a much larger volume of use. And they're definitely paying more, but it still ends up being about pennies on the dollar if they try to do this on their own. Mm-hmm. So our members can access all this gear at this like really subsidized. They are our mission work, they're the focus. But we also realized after we did that the general public had interest in just taking things for themselves or their family on just a single trip every once in a while. So then we offered individual rentals where people can just go online and pick things out and pay a la carte fees for what they need. Mm-hmm. And those are much more in line with like a for-profit rental shop, because for us, that's subsidizing this mission work. So if you come in as an individual and you're getting a tent, you pay $15 a day about for that tent. That gives you that tent, but it also pays for us giving that tent out to 2 or 3 other groups. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of really nice. You get to rent something and you're actually doing some donating and giving without realizing it, or sometimes you do realize it, but
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
And there's, I mean, all of the gear is so expensive, so like being able to access so much of it at a subsidized rate makes so much sense. But also I learned the really hard way, and I'm sure you have, all of us have, of buying the wrong gear, using it, and then being like, oh my God, I wish I got something else. I wish I got something different, or now I need to sell this and get something else. So it's like kind of this trial, like even if you're just starting to get into the outdoors, being able to get a membership and try out different things, see what you like, and then maybe you're committing to it and you really want to invest in that gear to have. That's, beyond the gear library. But the other beautiful thing is you don't have to store it. You don't have to repair it. You don't have to hang it up to dry it. Like I swear I'm cursed all my programs every time we have a program, it rains. And I just get to come, and I'm so sorry. But I just get to come here and drop off all the wet gear. There's like 15 tents that are just like soaking wet, and you guys manage it and take care of it. And like, that is such a huge lift off of our organization's shoulders and so many others. And for people who are enjoying the weekend, like, you come back after a Sunday of spending the weekend in the woods with your family. How awesome to not have to go and figure out where you're going to put it all at home right after. So, yeah. I don't know. I'm such a fan.
Yeah. No, it's like anything else. Once you create a professional organization to do the thing, they're probably going to do it better than we could do at our own houses. So, yeah, for us, it's, 15 tents is just a normal day kind of thing. So it's no big deal. Whereas that's not really an option if you live in an apartment to dry out a whole camping setup after you get back from a wet trip. That stuff takes a lot of room. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's nice.
Well, and I see, like, you're looking at it from sort of the entry level value side, but like, I also see it as like someone who is experienced in insert whatever activity I'm looking to do. I also have a really strong sense of what I want. And so if I have a membership with a place like this, I can go and try it and actually see like, how does it perform? Because like, that's a huge part of outdoor rec too, is like making sure that we're going out into all these places. Like I need to trust that my equipment is like as reliable as it can be and allows me to perform at whatever level I hypothetically think that I can perform at, you know? So being able to also have that access component to like, I need to try this thing because I'm looking at making the upgrade or I'm making a move to get some extra stuff. And I want to be able to make sure that I try it first before all of a sudden I end up with, you know, 3 different kayaks because, you know, I thought the first 2 that I bought were exactly what I wanted, you know, or whatever.
Or 3 different stoves.
Yeah.
When you were just saying that, I was thinking about those polk sleds that are here. And I've been looking at them the whole time. And I know so many backcountry skiers who are like into backcountry skiing, but haven't quite done like the expedition backcountry. And we have, you know, Baxter State Park, and there's so many people who are like trying to get up there. And I see on Instagram all the time and in stories, like, anybody have a polk sled? And like, nobody in Maine has a polk sled. And I'm constantly responding to people like, Maine GearShare, Maine GearShare. Because what a unique piece of gear to have. And so like I also think of the Nordic blades, like that was a huge thing that blew up and everyone started ice skating and everyone has cross-country ski boots, or a lot of people who are, you know, out in outdoor recreation and they're cross-country skiing, like they can just come here and get the blades to attach to their boots or press the boots.
It's definitely more adaptive for like the future of the outdoors. I was doing a talk at the library in Brunswick about what does the outdoor recreation scene look like as we move through climate change and some of those difficulties. And the feedback I gave there is like, I think we're looking at an opportunistic outdoor recreator as the next person. Like, I don't think we're going to have as many people who are like, I just do this one thing, because it's not going to be in season long enough to be just a cross-country skier. And so I think it's great to move into a share economy where you're like, I don't want to own 20 different setups of outdoor gear, or I just simply can't because that's a crazy amount of money to put out. And you don't have to. You could just share it. When the ice skating is good, grab some ice skates. When the snowshoeing is good, grab some snowshoes. So I think, I think gear libraries in general, I hope as a whole movement, kind of help people realize that like, even if you can own something, you may not want to, whether it be like not everyone has space to store a canoe, or you may just be like, I don't know how much ice skating I'm going to do, but if it's really good right now and the skiing is horrible, I'd love to do that. So I think it's hopefully moving to a place where people are choosing to opt into a share economy, even if they have the financial means to own it all themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're in Brunswick right now, but I know that you're trying to make an influence in the state and I'm sure across the nation, actually. I'm sure people are looking at this model and probably admiring it and wanting to replicate it. So will you talk a little bit about like statewide, what is the gear library scene and what's the direction of that?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. There are a shocking number of gear libraries in this little state of ours. So we have the Maine Gear Library Network. There's a place for it on our website where you can kind of find out and connect with where's the closest gear library near you, maps showing where you can get access to gear libraries or just rental gear generally. But really we're trying to help all of the existing gear libraries just work together, do some more sharing on top of our own sharing with our own members of how can we share stuff between our group. So if we've got one of our members who's going to go up and be in Skowhegan, they can go to their gear library and kind of connect with them. So kind of just more sharing between our existing libraries. And really the biggest piece we're doing is helping other folks who are trying to start gear libraries. We get a call maybe once a month or so of somebody at some stage of wanting to do something like this and just wanting some help with it. And so we realized it'd be a lot better if we just had a group that meets regularly, has resources we can all share with each other. All of our stuff is an open book. We want people to do more of this, right? Like we are successful if there are gear libraries all over the place. I think it would be great for Maine, which has population spread over such a large area comparatively to how many people we have, to have lots of small gear libraries near you, rather than having one or two really big ones, which, you know, that's great for serving large populations like what we do. But I also think there could be much smaller gear libraries serving just their local community. And those folks, like all of us when we start, probably are going to head down some of the wrong paths. right when they get going and get really hyper focused on trying to get the physical equipment in front of them as quickly as possible. When in reality, currently in our society, getting lots of stuff is really easy.
Yeah.
So that part's easy, but like the systems you were talking about that make it such a good user experience, having really nice gear, knowing it's actually available when you thought it was going to be available, having it constantly all be in good working order, all these components that like give credibility to the share economy thing we're doing kind of fall apart if people don't pay attention to those details when they get started. So it's a little bit self-serving having the Gear Library Network, but for us, we hope it's a place where people at any stage of wanting to do this can engage and learn a little bit about what their next step could possibly be so they can move forward.
Yeah. Well, and I think the cool part, like, I kind of look at it in two different facets of like, to go off of the point you were talking about earlier, it's also it will increase the amount of outdoor rec activities that someone may choose to get involved with in a given year, because I don't have to make that huge investment to have all of the equipment just to myself. But then I also think about just from a product quantity perspective, right? The place that opens up in, I don't know, somewhere in a rustic county, let's say, like they're not going to need, how many pieces of equipment did you say you have?
Yeah, 3,000. They're probably not going to.
Yeah, they're not going to need 3,000 pieces of equipment, right? But it still gets the same mission accomplished, where you're getting more people access to the outdoors with equipment that they are going to be able to have a great experience with, so that way they will end up recreating again in that activity in the future, whether it's by renting the gear again or by buying it themselves. So I think that's a really awesome model that you guys have put together and are now implementing in a lot of different ways. And I know we'll talk a little bit more about it, but I just there's something very unique about that, and I hope that the audience realizes that, because unfortunately that's not always the type of model that we tend to look at. You know what I mean? So
well, and something like searchable too. Like I know that we had worked, Teens to Trails and Maine GearShare had worked on this map of all the gear libraries, because where can we have a place where it's searchable of like, I want to go find a canoe and in this location. And so it seems like you're developing that even more, and then having more people reaching out to figure out how can we, I mean, a lot of them already have the gear. Like, how can we create the systems now? Because we already have all the stuff. And we don't know what to do with the stuff.
Yeah, so. No, that's, stuff's easy. The rest is hard. So we're just trying to help people figure that part of it out as quickly as we did, or hopefully even quicker.
Yeah, and then sharing where those places are too. Like, I think that map is going to be really helpful for people who are listening and people who are using this gear library but maybe traveling across the state. So
yeah, totally,
it's all exciting, good stuff.
I know. Well, and I know you guys have some kind of big developments in terms of the overall gear library network and how that's all kind of coming into play. So like, I want to make sure I give you the floor, because there's a lot of opportunity, so that way people know like how to actually effectively access all of this stuff. So like, talk about some of that, because I know you guys have been doing a lot of really awesome work recently, and you finally kind of hit the launch pad.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I mean, there's us, Teens to Trails, Winter Kids. There's a bunch of different organizations. I'm sure I'm leaving some out, who have been working on trying to help all of these shared users get access to this information, whether it's the families who want to stick stuff for their group, if it's an organization that wants to try to do their first camping trip but hasn't been able to get the gear, or if it's other folks who are trying to start gear libraries. All of these people want to know where these resources are, how they work, and the problem and the good part is every gear library is different. So we use this term gear library, and a lot of people have a vision immediately of what that means. And even in our state, just right here in Maine, with our existing gear libraries, we all do our membership model or our payment process model. All of them are different. And it's because we're all focused on maybe a slightly different subset of folks that we are trying to target and focus and share and get things to. And so we all kind of have a different model, right? Like ours, we're set up to do large groups. Other groups are set up to work with certain affinity groups. Other libraries are set up to work with just their local community. Other ones are set up to serve people coming to town to recreate. So for us, it's really just a central place where you can find all of these places and then go to them and find out their individual details. So by kind of developing this network, we hope that people can go to one location, kind of one searchable item, the Maine Gear Library Network, and then from there be able to find the one that meets their needs, whether it's the type of membership model they're looking for, or a specific geographic location they're looking for, or a specific type of equipment. As this network grows, hopefully we'll be able to share even more than just trade secrets. Maybe we can actually share the equipment back and forth, and you could rent our equipment while you're up in Skowhegan, right? That'd be pretty cool, or out in Millinocket. So I think that's a big part of it, and really there'll be a landing page on our website people can go to, a clickable map sharing all these resources, including like for-profit rental shops too, for filling in those gaps while we build more of these kind of share resources. So there'll be basically an interactive map that people can just go to and find what they need.
That's awesome. And we'll make sure that gets included as a link in the show notes for all of this as well. So that way somebody who hears about this and is like, I need that. One click, they can go directly to that map. And I think that'll be awesome. Is there anything you feel like we haven't touched on yet in this episode where you're like, I can't let Austin and Sam leave without talking about this?
Can I jump in and ask the one thing I thought of? Gear repair.
Yeah.
Like we've been kind of hearing
the
sounds, which is really nice, and it's awesome to like see a lot of it in process too. Like there are a lot of like buckles and zippers back there, but I've had a lot of my gear repaired here, and it's pretty affordable, and it keeps my favorite gear kind of in my back pocket as long as I can. So will you share about that? And if there are like events that we should know about around gear repair?
Always. There are always events around gear repair. Gear repair is awesome. It's one of my personal passions. It's a thing I brought with me to the organization. We've been fortunate enough to bring on staff that are also really passionate about that component of what we're doing. To me, it's irresponsible to have all of this really high-end equipment that we've now invested in, and we've asked foundations to give us money for and brands to donate their products. And then what typically would happen is you would store it kind of poorly, let it kind of wear out, and then throw it away. So obviously, environmentally, that is terrible. Business relationship-wise, that's not the most exciting thing for them to hear. So for us, being able to do all of our repairs in-house is pretty amazing. I don't know of anyone else doing it this way. It's very difficult. It requires a completely different knowledge base and set of equipment and all of these things. But for us, it's pretty critical if we're going to have the amount of use that we're talking about and the amount of volume of gear going out. We have to be able to fix things in-house, because we couldn't wait for the time to even try to get them repaired elsewhere, much less talking about the outdoor economy anywhere. There are so few people who have the knowledge base necessary to do repair that you simply couldn't get it done even if you wanted to, right? If you have a brand that has a ironclad guarantee, you can send everything back to them, they'll fix it all. You're looking at like a 3-month turnaround minimum, plus the working with that individual brand. Most brands don't offer anything, so you really just don't have an option. So for us, being able to do repair was a way to offer this to the state of Maine. Honestly, it's not just our local community at this point. We have people sending in repairs from all over, because it's just a resource for anyone. We find that people get repairs done for 3 reasons. One is they think that it's going to be cheaper than buying a new thing, which often is the case. If you have a really high-end hyperlight backpack, it's going to be cheaper to patch it than to buy another one. Another main reason people do it here is the sustainability component of, I know I could go buy another sleeping bag, I can afford it potentially, but I don't want to throw this one in the landfill just because the zipper is busted on it. I can just fix this one component, throw a little tiny part of this away, and keep this massive nylon thing in use a lot longer. And then the third, and kind of the one that I'd say is most fun for most repair techs, is the sentimental attachment. The gear that we talk about, how this is a formative experience for people, it's really life-changing work we're doing. That stuff becomes part of your being, right? You've got that favorite jacket that's fleece or something that you're just like handed down from a parent, a friend gave it to you, a mentor gave it to you. It's been on this trip with you, it's been on that trip with you. No matter how many holes it gets, you're going to keep wearing it, even though it doesn't really keep you warm anymore, right? So those ones, we love those stories, and we love fixing those things because it's like, feels really personal, right? Like we fixed 1,000 zippers. We know what that part is like. It's not the most exciting. It's what makes this one unique is that this has a story and it's going to get passed down. And that's really powerful. So for us, that's a lot of fun. It definitely gives us a little bit extra motivation. So if you are bringing in a repair, give us the sob story to go with it.
Well, and most of the time it makes the jacket or whatever it is you're repairing like that much cooler, in my opinion, because it's just like another piece of fabric or a cool button that you put on or a different zipper. So
part of the story, right? You're like, this is from when I went on this trip, and this crazy storm happened and it ripped my pole apart, and here's the different colored one from when it went back in. So you always have that tangible memory kind of tied to that experience.
Yeah. And so people can just show up here with whatever gear that they have, and you'll take it for however long you need it to repair it, and then they come pick it up and it's all done.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. You can fill out a form online. You can bring it in. We can give you an estimate of what we think it's going to cost, and then we actually do the work, and then you come and pay for it when you pick it up. And we've pretty much never gone beyond 3 weeks for a turnaround time. We can do things faster for those who need it, but we try to keep it relatively reasonable because we know how frustrating it is when you are out of the field for a long time and want to get back out there.
Yep. And then there are lots of gear repair stations that you're around the state. Is there anything coming up where you're like attaching to an event where people can bring their gear to?
Yeah, we have our big festival in the fall, which comes after the Common Ground Fair, which is a really big one for us. We're there for all 3 days. We teach basic sewing courses there as well. And
nice.
Just a really fun time to engage with people who are really excited about fixing things. They love to tell us about their sewing machines, ask us about ours. So that's just a fun community outreach thing we do. We also do repairs there. And then in October, we have our own festival called the Gear Again Festival. It's coming to its third year. That's got free gear repair and just opportunities to buy really cool local gear from Maine outdoor brands, folks that are just like really doing exciting work locally in the state of Maine, specifically around outdoor gear and sustainability. So it's a good place to come if you want like a deal on some used gear from one of our cool consignment shops around, or you want to get something fixed, or you just want to like shop local and like have really not a lot of gear but really nice gear.
Yeah.
So that'll
well,
be a place to
you'll
come to.
have one more poster up on the wall.
Most importantly, we will have a third poster with some really fun artwork on it.
So it's in October normally?
Yeah, it's always in October. We kind of move it around one of the middle weekends, but this time it'll be October 11th.
Cool. I want to go.
I think I'm gonna be here. I am envisioning the ski jacket that I have in my
Yeah,
closet
I
that I
was
blew
gonna
the
say,
zipper out of, and I'm like, I'm coming.
I have this little pile of gear that I should have brought today, but alas. Anything else that you want to share about all the good things you all are doing here?
No, it's exciting. It's ever changing. I would say all of what we just talked about has happened in like 3.5, 4 years. I mean, the idea and the folks on the board who have built this concept has been going about 10 years. Yeah. But what you're seeing and all of this quick change has really happened in a very short period of time. So it may sound like a lot in a really established program, but we've moved really quickly to get here. And so I think it's very achievable for folks to do this near them pretty quickly.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's been cool to watch you all grow up.
Yeah, you've seen the whole thing.
I've seen it all because, I mean, we partnered with you from the beginning, and that was really at the beginning of my time at Teens to Trail. So there's been so much that has happened, and I love working with you all. So I'm really glad you're able to be on our podcast.
Totally.
But we have rapid fire questions for you.
Yeah, so we have this segment called Voices from the Summit. We have only been at a summit for one of these actual episodes, but it's a great concept.
I've been to a summit before.
Yeah, exactly.
I know what it looks like.
Yeah, exactly.
You're up high, you can see the stuff below.
Yeah,
exactly.
Beautiful view.
So rapid fire questions, we're going to kind of bounce back and forth. So first one, when you're outside, do you need music or silence?
Silence.
Silence.
Inside, outside, anywhere. I need silence to focus. I cannot do anything else if music is happening.
That's fair. I love that. And most of the time you're kind of accompanied by the birds.
Yeah, and silence, I mean, just
natural
not
sound.
music. Yeah,
Natural
the sounds
sound.
of everyday life.
Natural sound.
What's your go-to gear repair hack?
There is no such hack. This is the one I get asked all the time, and there is no magic spoon for this one.
Is there like a little repair kit that you've created for your adventures? Or I guess it really depends on what the adventure is, right?
Yeah, I'm the classic cobbler's kid on this one. I bring nothing with me to the field to fix anything. I let my stuff break, and then it takes me a year and a half to get it fixed, even though I can bring it to work. And
That's hilarious. What about duct tape? Is that the gear
Absolutely.
repair?
Yeah,
that is
when in doubt,
all right,
duct
here's
tape.
the hack. Here's the hack. Never, ever, ever use duct tape ever again.
Oh,
to
all
fix
right.
anything.
There you go.
I
That
bet you
if
peel
a
it
gear
off.
if a gear repair technician could say anything on any podcast, they would say stop using duct tape to fix things.
Okay, that's
It makes
good.
it almost impossible to fix once we get it back here. So
Okay, pro tip.
use anything else you have with you to hold it together. I mean, obviously in a storm you can put the duct tape on there, but rip it right off as soon as the weather turns because the residue is a nightmare.
Yeah.
So while joking, that is actually a really helpful thing.
That is the hack. Describe the future of Maine's outdoor economy in just one word.
I'm going to go with wicked.
Wicked.
Yes.
That's a very Maine answer.
That's so New England. I love it. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, what's a lesson from the outdoors that's shaped how you lead?
Let's see. The outdoors has taught me a lot. I think one of my big ones is we make a plan so we have something to change, right? So that comes from field work where you're like, everyone wants to know what the deal is, what are we going to do? And it always changes. You never really stick with the thing you said you were going to do. So you make a plan so you have something you can change and work off of and adapt from. And I think that's the same thing we apply here at Maine GearShare is we always have a vision and we're not tied to it too closely. We're willing to make changes as we go.
Nice.
That's great. I think Jenny also had a similar, like, having a vision.
Yeah, vision. Lots of strategy.
She likes to know where she's going.
Yeah. She's not the I don't need a map.
Yeah, no,
but it's great. I mean, you both are incredible leaders in the space. So.
Yeah. And now a little bit more of a fun one. So you're going on an adventure weekend extravaganza. Okay. You can only pack 5 things for your weekend. What makes the cut?
Is he camping?
It's his weekend adventure.
I need no more context. I'm good.
Is he on water?
Doesn't matter. I need my dog Topper because he goes everywhere. A jar of pickles would go a long way. It gets you through most problems, I find. I think that's it. I'm going to leave the other 3 behind for someone else.
Water.
Don't need it.
Pickle juice.
Electrolytes.
Pickle juice.
Natural electrolytes
in
in pickle
pickles.
juice.
Better
Again,
than just drinking water.
Yeah.
It is a superfood.
A dog and pickles.
I could go pretty far with just that, I think.
I believe you. I 100% believe you.
It's so awesome that you're the executive director of Maine GearShare and you're like, pickles and my dog.
Yeah. The stuff can come and go.
Yeah.
It's good to have, but there's too much of it to pick one, so.
Yeah. That makes sense. Well, I'm so glad you were able to be on our podcast and thank you for supporting us. And I think that's a wrap.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we'll make sure that all the Maine GearShare handles are included in the show notes. And if you're someone who's watching this podcast and you want more of it, make sure you follow and subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram, all More Than Outdoors podcast. Because we have a lot of really amazing guests, like you've already seen in Jenny and Josh, and there's a lot more to come.
Yeah.
So
who do you want to see? Do you have somebody you want to see?
Yeah.
I'm excited to see who you all come up with next. That's Jenny's a tough one to break right off the top there. So yeah.
So many good people to follow.
Yeah.
So.
But awesome. Thank you, and we'll see you next time outside.
See you next time.